Hey guys, it's me Keisha, and I'm here with last week's episode review of Reasonable Doubt, Season 3, Episode 9. This week is the season finale episode, but Episode 9 was good, okay? So the episode begins with Jax laying in bed, worried that she's blind to Ozzie being a monster. And I agree with that to an extent because I think that she's looking at him through the lens of her being overlooked by the adults in her life growing up, and she's what's the word I'm looking for? She's like mirroring what happened in her life with Ozzie, but Ozzie to me got a little bit more demons than what Jax has gone through. Back at Ozzie's crib, he invites the stripper that he smashed a few episodes back over to get him some cootie cat or whatever. And they had him a good old time. Jack sees Bill at the office talking to the partners and is putting in her head like, okay, I really do got to keep my eye on Opie, okay? Because it's a little bit too many coincidences going on here. So while they're having a team meeting, Daniel is texting Kristen, who is not responding and not paying attention to nothing that's going on in the meeting. And Jax peeps this. Jax and Bill then decide to go talk to Ozzie about taking the stand. And we have a flashback to young Ozzie, who's a teenager at this point, and the actor who plays him, who played younger Ozzie, stars on Beyond the Gates right now as Tyrell. Love that little boy. He's really cute. And it's a scene with young Ozzie and his mom at the vet's office because the family dog had ate chocolate and of course got sick because you can't give dogs chocolate. And the vet says that he thinks that the dog was giving it on purpose. And it's kind of like hinting to the fact that Ozzie could have been the one that did it, but the mama don't want to hear it. She do not want to hear it at all. Lo and behold, outside the door, Ozzie is ear hustling. So when the mama come out, he like, everything all right? And she was like, yeah, everything's all right. Like, let's go or whatever. So they're planning in our head to think like maybe Ozzie is this monster. Did he in fact do this to the family dog? And we've seen how weird he is. You know what I'm saying? So he could be very culpable of doing this. So in current time, Ozzie questions to Jax and Bill, what if he did unalive Wendy? And Jax is like, nope, we're not doing that. Jax wants him to focus on evidence and not his thoughts. And I was like, well, Jax, you can't just tell him not to think about the fact that he could have done this. You know what I'm saying? Because and this goes back to her initial question is she blinded? Because she's just telling him to negate the fact that he could have done this, So Bill asks to speak to Jax and tells her that Ozzie will never be ready to take the stand. But she won't listen. She will not listen to anything that anybody else has to say because when Jax has made her mind up about something, that's just what it is. And I do think that she has the right to follow her gut because a lot of the time she is right, but she does not play well with others. And I do think that that is a downfall of hers and why the partners feel like they can't play ball with her because she is a lone ranger pretty much. And she does need to learn how to work with others. She really honestly does. And learn how to take criticism and suggestions from others. So Lewis calls the dude that works in his office that had lied about getting his position and all of that type of stuff into his office to fire him for constantly messing up once again. But dude gives him this sob story about how he know he's been an a-hole, but his girl is pregnant and he asks for another chance. And Lewis saw fast fall for it. And I'm like, Lewis, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? The dude literally almost got you fired and you giving him another chance. and just believing him and taking his word all because he another black man? Child, please. Okay, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, I'm the goddamn fool. And I'm looking at Lewis like, this nigga lying. He probably ain't even got no girlfriend. Okay, I really think that on the season finale episode, this is gonna come back to haunt Lewis, and Lewis gonna end up getting fired behind this dude. Dude gonna end up using something against Lewis and getting Lewis fired and taking Lewis' job, because he's one of those people that lies to get ahead, right? And yeah, he's getting played once again by this dude. And I'm like, how you got so much saving grace for this nigga, but you ain't got it for Eddie? Make it make sense. So Bill questions Ozzie like he's on the stand, but dude cannot handle it. Like, he can't even handle it when they're doing a mock trial, right? So once again, he's trying to show Jax that this is not going to work. So Jax tells Ozzie that she believes in him. No matter what, she believes in him. And Ozzie asks, like, but what if I did do it? And she once again gives him words of encouragement. And he asks her if he did do some bad things growing up, would she still view him the same way that she does now? And we have a flashback to young Ozzie in his trailer talking to Monica, and she tries to seduce him, and he turns her down and was like, you know, we're not doing that or whatever no more. And she questions like, I ain't know you was like into dudes. And he was like, what you talking about? And basically she was trying to insinuate, oh, if you don't want to have sex with me, then there gotta be something wrong with you. You gotta like dudes. And she leaves his trailer, and it gets him very upset and emotional, and like almost questioning himself, like, is that what it means? Because you gotta remember, he's 13, 14 years old at this point, so he don't know a lot about schmecks and schmexuality and all of these types of things. So he wondering like, is something wrong with me? So he goes to beat his meat, I guess, while thinking about her or another woman. And one of the PAs just walks in, and he flips out and was like, don't you know how to knock? This is that and the third. And he actually goes to like hit the dude. And his mama ends up catching him and was like, what in the hell is going on? Like, he literally throws a trophy at this man. And we see right then and there his anger issues and him acting out and being violent. So once again, they're really painting this picture like he could have very well did this to Wendy, but then it also shows us how effed up he had been trained by Monica, the mind games that she was playing with him. Like, she was a real true sicko. So back in court, Autumn takes the stand and says that Ozzie suffers from arrested development, but she hasn't experienced him being capable of physical violence. And I'm just like, just because you ain't seen it don't mean it ain't happened, because that little nigga crazy. So prosecution argues that he went untreated for years and wonders, is he manipulating her and the court? Which is a very good question. Very, very good question. But I feel like I understood where both sides were coming from. Crystal thinks that Ozzie is too dumb to have killed Wendy, since he doesn't even know how to take care of himself on a day-to-day basis, which makes Jax think, oh my God, that's the angle we need to be going with. Like, how can he be this mastermind behind this unaliving when he doesn't even know how to do day-to-day things for himself? Which is another great point. But Bill tells Jax that he doesn't think that Ozzie will like this new angle that she's going with. And Jax is like, what's your problem? Because every time I say something, you got to counteract what I'm saying. And so Bill was like, my problem is I'm about to put my entire career on the line for your whimsical decisions. You like to say your name is on the building. Well, mine isn't. And if we don't win this case, it's probably never will be. So Jax figures out in this moment, oh, so the partners promised that if you won, you would make partner. Okay, now I see what the fuck is going on here. So Jax threatens to tell the partners that he's getting a divorce and effing her best friend, because that's not going to look too good, is it? So she's like, baby, you better play ball with me, okay? Or me and you gonna have a problem. So she asked him, are you with me or are you against me? He was like, I'm with you. And she was looking at him like, you damn right, you better be, okay? So I'm still on the fence with Bill. I'm still on the fence with him. But I feel like I said, if he do snake her in the end, she gonna end up getting him back. She gonna get him back one way or the other, period. But I think he might end up falling in line. I don't know. I don't know with Bill. Bill been on a seesaw with me all damn season. So then Chelsea pops up on Lewis at his job in the middle of the night, and he shook. He was like, girl, don't you walk up on me like you out your mind. And she introduces herself as Eddie's daughter and tells him that Eddie isn't who Jax thinks he is. And she says that he was with her mama up until she passed away and left her to plan the funeral by herself, and says that Eddie's sober until he isn't. And she also goes on to say that he's lying when he says that she's the dangerous person. Now, that is a bunch of bull. Now, could it very well, I think that she probably is telling the truth about the part where when her mama passed, he left her to pick up the pieces and pay for the funeral. I think that's true. But we also got to remember in the previous episode, he was like, you want me to stop letting you take my benefits to take care of you and your kids. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what I thought. So I do think that she's very dangerous. I think that she is very manipulative and a liar, and she gonna get it however she can. And she's going to use her father to get closer to Jax and get Jax to push her father away so she can get closer to Jax and use Jax. And I think that she's going to be able to use Jax through the sister connection and the fact that she has these kids, you know what I'm saying, which are her nieces and nephews or whatever. So next season, I think that that's going to be a big part of Jack's storyline, is this newfound sister that she has. And I got to give it to Lori Harvey. She's doing a phenomenal job playing Chelsea. I didn't know that she had the chops, but she says that she's been taking acting classes for years. It's always been something that she's wanted to do. I've seen her do little bit parts here and there, but this is her biggest role to date. And I think that she's killing it. She is 1000% killing it. When I look at her on screen, I don't even see Lori Harvey. I'm literally just seeing Chelsea. So she's doing a phenomenal job. Daniel returns home to find a note from Kristen saying that things can't be fixed and that she loves him. So basically, she's chucking him up the deuces and getting out of Dodge. And so, of course, he's even more worried now. So we then see her on the side of the road throwing away her SIM card so nobody can find her. And then she hopped back in her whip and she dipped, right? So which lets me know that, yeah, you're more involved in this Wendy case than you have let on. And yeah, we've been having our eye on her since the beginning. Since the beginning, we have felt that you probably unalived her or was a part of it or knows who did it. And now we're starting to see that she's very, very guilty. The next day in court, Kristen and the mama don't show up, which was real fucked up. Real fucked up. The daddy was the only one that showed up for Ozzie. We then see a flashback of Ozzie's mom feeding him Adderall and not listening to him when he says that he doesn't want to do the show and just wants to be a normal kid. But the mama is just so selfish and I guess like the limelight, like the money that it was bringing in. And she literally was not paying attention to her child's wants and needs and giving him more medication than he actually needed. She was just being shitty. She was looking at him like a corporation and not her child. And that added to his mental instability because he had nobody that he could go to. If you can't listen, if you can't get your own parents to hear you, then what is he supposed to do? And it's obvious that that's part of the reason why he throws tantrums and fits, because when he's acting quote unquote normal, nobody listens to him. He has to act the fool and act violent for them to take him seriously. And that's crazy. So, as his mama is leaving out the room, he stops her and says, I didn't harm the dog. And she was like, I know you didn't. But it's obvious in her mind at the time that she did not know. She still thinks that he was the one that probably did this. And Then we come back to present time and Ozzie is called to the stand. Jax questions him about does he have a pow pow, and he says yes he does, and that his parents were the one that suggested, I think his father was the one that suggested he have it for safety reasons, but it's at the cabin and he doesn't even know the code to even get the pow pow, doesn't even know how to purchase rope or anything of that nature. Like he doesn't know about any of those things, which makes him look really good on stand. But when the prosecution gets up and question him, Ozzie loses it, just like Bill said that he was. And he says that he hated being dependent on others and that he doesn't know how to even get to the cabin, which makes the prosecution actually look bad. So him spazzing out actually was a good thing because it made him be very vulnerable in that moment and showed the jurors that he's literally incapable of doing anything for himself. I'm a grown man with so much power, but really none at all. You know what I'm saying? So the partners get on Bill as they're out at like some little lounge bar area about not telling them Jax was going to put Ozzie on the stand. At this point, Bill has had it with these two motherfuckers and he threatens to tell Jax about the acquisition and tells the two partners, he was like, I need you to do something for me now at this point. Now we on my terms. He was like, I need to win this more than Jax because I got this expensive ass divorce that I got coming up. And he was like, y'all gonna help me. So he didn't told them about the divorce now, so they know. So Jax can't even use that over his head. Now the part about him fucking Sally, we don't really know. But he once again now is trying to snake Jax. So the next day, the partners go to Jack's office and say that Bill should do closing arguments. And Jack goes the fuck off. Like, I know you motherfucking lying with all this hard work that I have done on this case. And she was like, all I do is win, no matter what. And she was like, I got money on my mind. It could never be enough. And she was like, I'm the one that's making all the money. And she was like, this is not arrogance. This is facts. Okay, set in stone. And tell Bill I respect his game. I would have tried it too, but I am not the one to be played with. Okay? Now, if you excuse me, y'all can get the fuck out my office. Like, that's literally what she said to them. And they was sitting there with egg on their face looking stupid as hell. Jax has had it with them crackers, right? So I can't wait for the season finale episode because I know that that's when it's going to come out that they're being, purchased by another bigger firm and that Jax ain't even, coming over with them. Like, where does that then leave her? Does that leave her without a job? Will she have to go to another firm? Will she start her own firm? So many questions in the air. And then the fact that Bill didn't even tell her about this. Ooh, girl, it's going to be juicy. So the attorneys give their closing arguments. Both sides did a wonderful job. Rosie finds Ozzie's box under his bed, this little box that he kept from when he was younger. And on the inside of the box was the dog's collar and a note that he'd written to the dog saying how much he loved and missed him. So at this point, she realizes that he was telling the truth the whole time. He did not do anything to that dog. He loved that dog. So she visits her son and tells him that she failed him. She failed him as a mother, which she absolutely 1000% did. And she apologizes for keeping her distance and says that she believes that he did not do it. He didn't do it to the dog and he didn't do it to Wendy. And they hug and Ozzie just feels like somebody finally believes me and like is seeing me for the first time. Daniel, at the end of the episode, we see Kristen sitting on the cabin steps with a pow pow in her hands. And Daniel creeps up on her because he realizes that she's there and tells her, give me the pow pow. Do not do this. And she finally says that her whole life, all the attention was on Ozzie. He was always the main focus and that she had to find her place. And she says that he loved that dog more than anything in life. So how do I hurt him and how do I get attention from the family? Doing something to that dog. So we now realize that she possibly is the one that did unalive Wendy to hurt her brother and to maybe get him out of the way finally, you know? But we don't know yet because they leave off of that scene and we see Jax tell Bill at the office that the verdict has come in. And Bill is on the phone with his attorney who's telling him that his wife wants more money. And he looking like, what the like, how much more this bitch want? And then the episode goes off. I thought we was going to hear a pow pow shot, but we didn't. So this week's episode will pick up where we left off with us finding out if Kristen is going to literally try to unalive herself. Will Daniel be able to stop her, and we are going to finally find out who actually unalived Wendy, okay? I'm so ready for this to be over with, all right? And I'm looking forward to season 4. They have already been picked up and renewed for another season, which is so good. I'm so looking forward to season 4. I'm so looking forward to this Jackson, Chelsea, and Eddie storyline and everything. We still have yet to see the scene where Jax goes into the room and is crying on her hands and knees. I'm really thinking that the person on the ground now is her mom, possibly, and it could be Eddie. Who knows, child? It could. I'm really going towards her mom, but it could be Eddie. It could be Ozzie still. I wish that they would have done more with her daughter, Naima's character. Like, we saw her acting out and then they didn't do anything with it. It's like everything was focused on the grandmama being sick, but they never went back to the situation with Naima. I feel like they dropped the ball with that part of the storyline. But other than that, I think this is a stellar season. It was good to finally see Jax in court doing her thug thizzle. Really excited about that. I'm really excited about Joseph Sikora being added to the cast of the show. I think that he's doing a phenomenal job. I would love to see him next season as an adversary of hers and just another cracker that she got to get back at. I want to see next season her going up against the other partners and her maybe starting her own thing with Daniel and Crystal and starting her own firm. And yeah, I think that Chelsea's going to start off being horrible and effing over Jax, but I think that tough love and a good cussing out and all of those things is going to put a fire under her to get her life together. So I'm excited about where this whole thing can go. I still don't see it for Jackson Lewis. Ugh, cannot. But this was another great episode. I'm going to give it an A. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. I'm looking forward to the season finale episode this week. Love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.